What's going on, everyone? It's Sean with another Tesla video, and in this one I want to show you how my Model S is wearing over 150,000 miles and talk about what I would do differently next time in terms of how to protect the car. Now, there's one thing that I want to say right off the top, which is this is not a video talking about any repairs that I've made. If you want to see a video about that, I did a summary of my cost and repairs about a month ago. Go take a look at that. In fact, better yet, I'll put the link in the video description so you can go take a look at that if that's what you are more interested in. As for this video, this will be all about how the car, the interior and the exterior materials are holding up. Let's start with the exterior first and then move to the interior, and then I'll finish up by talking about the things that I would do differently next time around. At 150,000 miles, this car is definitely showing its wear. I'd say overall, the paint job is holding up extremely well. It just has a lot of scratches and swirls. Now, it's good for you to know that when I bought the car, the only thing aftermarket that I really did to it was tint the windows. I didn't put a wrap on, I didn't put a clear coat or anything like that. So as you'll see, as the camera kind of runs along the side of the car, it's got some scratches and it's got some swirls. But as I said, the paint is really holding up quite well. The biggest area of wear for the exterior of the car is the front bumper and front hood. Now, I live in Colorado, and during the wintertime, they use a lot of salt and gravel to make sure that there's not any slippage on the road when there's ice and snow. And because I didn't get any sort of clear wrap on the front of the car, it's definitely wearing. Now, it's good to know that when I bought this car used over a couple of years ago, it already looked like there was some wear on that bumper, but over the course of the miles that I've put on it, it just has gotten worse. So I've kicked around a couple of ideas about how to fix this and sort of spruce up the car and make it look a little bit newer. One of my thoughts is to just have the bumper and hood repainted. One of the other ideas that I really like a lot is to go to an aftermarket provider and swap out the old bumper and put on the new front fascia bumper that can be retrofitted. If I do this, the bumper has to be painted anyway, and I probably would get the hood painted as well, since I have all of those rock chips and pits. There are a few dings on the car. One of them was there when I bought it. The other one happened when a piece of tire shrapnel jumped up and somehow hit the side of the car while I was driving. I also have a pretty large scratch on the back trunk where I opened up the trunk in the garage underneath a bicycle, in the bicycle pedal, the metal aluminum pedal, scratched the back. So I think a lot of the micro scratches and swirls can probably be worked out at a detail shop. I'll probably do that at some point. I'm in the process of trying to figure out how I can partner together with an aftermarket company to get the new front fascia bumper put on. I hope to bring you a video on that because I think that'd be a really cool way to kind of freshen up the car. My 21-inch Arachnid wheels have held up pretty well as well. I've put around 20,000 miles on them, and to date there's very few scratches and nicks. There's no curb rash. I've done a really good job at that. And there's a few rock chips on the front wheels, and I think they just sort of bear the impact of any rocks that are being kicked up from other cars. I do have a set of 19-inch Slipstream wheels, and last winter I did forget about the side of a curb and scratched one of the wheels pretty bad. It's something that would be pretty easy to refinish at some point, but by and large, both sets of wheels are holding up extremely well, and I'm very happy with them. Now let's move to the interior of the car. The place that gets the most wear is the front driver seat. You can see that there's quite a few micro creases in the leather. I think if I got a brush and some soap, I could probably get out most of the dirt in those micro creases in the seat. There's also some blue jean transfer that has just recently started happening as I bought some new jeans the last time I was in California. But overall, the leather is holding up extremely well. There's no holes in it. It doesn't feel like it's getting thin or about to rip. I do notice some of the side panels in the second row of the car are wearing a little bit more because they are the original leather pieces. Now, when I bought the car, I think that when Tesla was refurbishing, they removed the front seat panels because they were probably wearing a little bit too much and replaced them with faux leather. And the armrests are holding up extremely well. Aside from some minor wear and discoloration, the leather is in good shape. The second area where I see the most wear is the handle for the driver's side door. As I reach to either open the door or shut the door, my ring on my ring finger does get that aluminum piece and puts a little nick in the aluminum. I'm also seeing some wear on the underside of the steering wheel, and as I get into the car, my knee or leg kind of brushes up against the bottom. Now, this doesn't happen as much anymore since they've added the easy entry mode, which allows me to kind of preset the steering wheel as high as possible so it doesn't get that brush up or wear on the bottom side. Though there is one 4-inch scratch on the back seats, the back seats are holding up incredibly well. They look the best because there's not very many people that sit back there. It's mostly in the front seat. And when we do, say for example, have kids in the back seat, they're in car seats. Now, what would I do differently next time around? Well, I would definitely get a clear wrap on the front of the car, the bumper, the hood, and probably the side mirrors. But I'd also strongly consider doing just an entire clear wrap around the entire car. This, I think, would protect the car much better from the micro scratches and swirls, that big scratch on the back trunk that I showed you, as well as the scratches on the door handles. I definitely have learned a lot over the course of ownership of this car in terms of taking care of it. I wish I would have known some of these things that I know now when I first got the car. But it is a good lesson learned, and if you're watching this video and you're about to get a Tesla, consider doing some of these things when you get your new car, and I promise you that the car will look tons better than mine at 150,000 miles. The other thing that I'd probably do is put a clear coat over the clear wrap to make it easier to wash and clean. We got that put on my wife's car when we bought it, and it just seems to make it easier to clean and wash the car. In many cases, you can just spray it down and it gets a lot of that dirt off. I'd love to hear from you all in the comments down below. Did you, when you first bought your car, put a clear wrap or a clear coat on it to protect it long term? Sound off in the comments down below, and if you found this video valuable and interesting, please consider subscribing and liking. Thanks so much, and see you on the next video.